House Democrats are pushing for hearings after a recent report on conditions inside migrant detention facilities. A joint report from the New York Times and the El Paso Times headlined "Hungry, Scared, and Sick" inside the migrant detention center in Clint, Texas, details outbreaks of scabies, shingles, and chickenpox spreading among children. The report says, quote, "The stench of the children's dirty clothing was so strong it spread to the agents' own clothing. People in town would scrunch their noses when they left work." Joining me now is one of the reporters behind that article, Manny Fernandez. He is the Houston bureau chief for the New York Times. Manny, thank you so much for joining us. Now, President Trump said Sunday that he wants the press to visit more migrant detention facilities. But until that happens, or the DHS Inspector General issues a report on the Clint facility, all that we're left with are descriptions of what it's like inside. So paint us the most complete picture you can of what the children and agents are dealing with inside that facility. You yourself were not even allowed to go in. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I did not tour the facility, but one of our other reporters, Simone Romero, did. They did a media tour several days ago, and Simone was on that tour, but I was not on that tour.
So can you paint a picture for us of what Simone saw, what the reporters there on that tour saw, combined with what lawyers for the children have reported seeing? Take us inside, if you will.
Sure, absolutely. I think that's what we try to do, is sort of paint a window into the facility. What you have is sort of a standard sort of government facility that on the inside resembles a little bit of a jail for adults. That's what it was built for. It was built to house about 100 mostly single adult men that were coming through illegally across the border at the time. Basically, with a surge in migrant youth that were coming in, the Border Patrol basically sort of improvised and turned that facility into sort of a migrant youth shelter. And they were using both the cells inside as well as some of the outdoor sort of areas to basically figure out, this is where we're going to put hundreds of children. And so on the inside, at one point, one of the people who was inside said that it reminded him of one of the county jails in El Paso County, because you have sort of a guard station with guards looking at monitors, and they're looking at the insides of various cells. And the difference being is that inside the cells, it was mostly children, migrant youth who had come in.
And to be clear, this was never a facility
somebody interviewed
that was
said that one of the cells, yeah.
Sorry, this was never a facility that was meant to house children, correct? So there was nothing to, prepare this facility for an onslaught of children as young as toddlers. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there was nothing. Somebody told me that there was no kitchen there. They had no kitchen. They had nothing. The adult men that this facility was originally designed to house, they would only be there for a day or two. And instead now what you have is, at one time, hundreds of children coming in, some of them staying for several days, several weeks, and it just, it wasn't quite working.
Now, this morning on CNN, the chief Border Patrol agent for the agency's El Paso sector, Aaron Hull, pushed back on the idea that there were outbreaks of scabies, shingles, and smallpox or chickenpox in Clint. Here's his response. Let's listen.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what you're disputing. Are you saying that there were not outbreaks of scabies, shingles, chickenpox? We've heard reports of lice and the flu. Are you saying that that did not happen?
I'm saying the term outbreak is not accurate. We encounter people from all over the world. When we encounter them and they get their medical screening, we often find that they have scabies, lice, chickenpox, the flu. We immediately treat those people. They're quarantined and separated. So the term outbreak implies that it's something somehow occurring or being caused in our facility. These are people that we encounter with these conditions. We address them medically, and we isolate and quarantine them from others.
So, Manny, what do you make of his pushback on the use of the term outbreak?
Yeah, I mean, I heard a little bit of semantics there, he's disputing the use of the word outbreak, and at the same time is confirming that indeed there have been children and adults there with scabies, with chicken pox, with the flu, and with lice. And I think it's just a matter of what he views as an outbreak and what the agents inside considered an outbreak. You know, we talked to 3 different agents who work at that facility, and they described some of the conditions. So I don't know, I just heard a little bit of semantics over him disputing that use of the phrase outbreak, but we stand behind our reporting.
And your article states that Border Patrol leadership knew for months that some children had no beds to sleep on, no way to clean themselves, and sometimes even went hungry. So why did it take so long for the public to find out? Was there a cover-up going on?
No, I mean, specifically, no, I don't think that there was a cover-up. I think that overall, the Border Patrol has been overwhelmed at the border. And I think they've had difficulty figuring out how to house all of the migrant youth and the migrant adults. And I think that it took the immigration lawyers coming in and doing a bunch of different interviews with a lot of different people and going to those facilities and then talking to the press and talking to the public about what they saw. That's what sparked all this. I think it took some outsiders to come in not from within Customs and Border Protection, but coming in from outside to look at it. You know, I think that in that same CNN interview, Aaron Holt talked about how they were overcrowded, and he did not dispute that. And I think that what Border Patrol has gotten used to as being considered overcrowded and what the general public views as overcrowded, and when does overcrowded become unsafe. I think that that's where there is a discrepancy there. I think that the Border Patrol has gotten used to putting a lot of people, including small children, in small rooms because they're overwhelmed.
All right, hopefully now then this $4.6 billion funding package that just passed through Congress will help alleviate some of this. We're out of time, but thank you so much, New York Times Houston Bureau Chief Manny Fernandez. We really appreciate you joining us.